If you're looking to invest into NFTs and you're only looking for the top tier projects, I mean the top 1% of the 1% where you know that the founders are not just gonna run away with your money, well, I'm gonna give you some of my top 3 in this video. And personally for me, I actually invested quite a bit of money into these projects, so I personally believe in it myself and I wouldn't be talking about it to you guys if I didn't. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'll give you a quick analysis of all these projects and why I think they are blue chip. Okay, so the first project that I'm going to be talking about is Cyberkongs. Cyberkongs was actually my first NFT that I bought. Went into the space. I literally didn't know anything about NFTs. I just followed a bunch of people on Twitter. And then I wanted a Cyberkong because some people were talking about it. And so when I bought it for 1.6 ETH, which was about $5,000 or $6,000 at the time. And fortunately, that paid off pretty well because a baby Cyberkong, which is what I bought, is worth about 4.5 ETH right now. So definitely have multiplied my money on that. The reason why I want to talk about this project specifically is because as I got to know more about NFTs, I realized how much of an innovator Cyberkongs is, especially in the NFT space. Originally why I got it was because I wanted this 3D monkey over here. Originally I wanted to buy one of these, but then I quickly realized that it was difficult to buy because the demand was so high and supply was limited. And then people in the Discord, they're like, hey, if you buy a baby, you'll get a free VX. So that's exactly why I bought a baby, so I can get a free NFT, right? As I got more deeper into it, I realized like how much more this is than just a picture profile. Most people look at NFTs and they're like, I don't understand. Like this is just a picture of a monkey. I can right click it, save as, and then I have it, right? But in reality, the value that comes from the Cyberkong, let's call it like 5 ETH, right? So this is like maybe 20K right now. Why is it worth 20K? Why is this picture of a JPEG that anybody can copy worth 20K? And it's because of all the things that they built. When you look at this VX, you can use it in a world in the sandbox. Pretty much sandbox is the game. It's like Minecraft or Roblox, but for the NFT space. When you buy a Cyberkong VX, you can use this character in the game and you can actually play the game. From my understanding of Sandbox, it's going to be one of the biggest NFT and blockchain games like in the world. There's a lot of potential there. You got all these guys that want to play as monkeys, and so the value of these monkeys are going to go up because demand is high, right? But if you think about like the innovation here, before when people looked at NFT projects like CryptoPunks, for example, it's just a picture. Okay, it's like a set of pictures and that's pretty much all it does. But why Cyberkong is so innovative in this space and why people copy them so much is because they're saying like, okay, we got a picture profile project here, but then we're going to make it 3D and then we're going to put it in this game and then we're going to give them a token. They're adding all these utilities into this picture. The art is almost secondary, right? It doesn't even matter if it's a monkey or a gorilla, elephant or whatever. The art really is the community behind it, the community that supports it, and the utility they build around this picture profile. If you see any projects that are coming out with tokens for their NFTs, or they're building in a sandbox, they're building 3D assets to use in a game. Well, if you look at who were the originators of using those concepts, all these things actually tie back to Cyberkongs, just purely because of that, of how much they innovate in the space, how much they build, and how much they don't worry about what the price is of the floor, and they just focus on creating the best product possible for the community. That already, for me, sets it as a blue chip project that will continue building even if, the crypto market goes into bear. And one of the most valuable things about Cyberkongs is that if you have a Genesis one, which is the adult, or if you have a baby, which is what I have, which is like the baby version of it, you get access to this group on Discord called Wall Street Kongs. It's basically a bunch of brains coming together to figure out what is going to be the best NFT investments, and they kind of share information on that. In the NFT space, especially if you're trading and investing, it's all about knowledge. If you get knowledge before the next person, you can buy something before everybody else does, and then flip it if you want, or hold it as a long-term investment. But really, having the best information is going to lead to your success in the NFT space. And for me, personally, because the first NFT I bought was a Cyberkong baby, it allowed me to go into Wall Street Kongs, listen in on what people are talking about, what do people see as good investments and bad investments. I kind of listen in and copy what they do, and fortunately it worked out pretty well. I paid 6K for a baby Kong, but just being in the group, I've made much more than 6K, so it's a positive ROI, right? And so that's like real world utility that actually manifests into dollars. Now we're gonna move into the next NFT project that I personally bought into, which is Cool Cats. After I bought the Cyberkong, I was listening into the group and I was trying to figure out what could I buy next, because I wanted to invest, some thousands of dollars. And then the next thing I bought was a Cool Cat. And the only reason I bought it was because somebody, which was Coco, he's quite a big character within the NFT space, especially in Cyberkongs, he mentioned that he was a fan of Cool Cats. I was like, oh, what's a Cool Cat? And I just went on their website, went on their Twitter, did my own research, and I was like, yo, this is pretty sick. When you go on the Cool Cats website, it's gonna look like this, but then originally when I went on it, it kind of looked like this, where it kind of explained, what the cool cats were. And the thing that really attracted me to this was the art initially. So when you're looking at the art of a project, you got to think like commercially, who's the market for it? So for a cool cat, it's not quite like a Cyberkong. Cyberkong's kind of more for gamers and for guys mostly. I could see like girls buying this as well. Right? It's kind of like the Hello Kitty, but for the blockchain space. And at the time when I bought it, there wasn't really much in the market that filled that gap. And so not only from an art perspective that it's good, but it actually fills a gap in the market that people want to buy. Projects that solve problems or fill gaps are the ones that can accelerate their growth really fast, right? Because they're a starving crowd looking to buy this and they make it and people buy it. The thing I really appreciate about this project is that they try to make it as simple as possible for beginners, right? So when I bought one, I was a complete noob. I was a beginner. I was literally just like 2 or 3 weeks into NFTs. And then I really like how they did this chart over here where they're like, how cool is my cat? Meaning some cats are rarer than others. And the more rare something is, the more valuable it is and the more it's worth. They did it by color coding it. And you can see exactly like how many cool cats there are, how many wild ones, classy, exotic. Personally, I have a wild one. It just explained it really well. So I feel like projects that can onboard new people who have no idea what NFTs are into the space, those are the ones that can be successful because they know how to go out and create demand out of thin air. At the time of this recording, there's like only 500,000 people in the world that have NFTs, right? And that's constantly gonna grow. So the game is which project can onboard the most people and create the most demand for their specific project. And if the supply is limited and demand increases, well, the price is gonna go up, right? That's initially why I bought the Cool Cat, but why I held on it for so long. So I bought it for 1.6 ETH about, I believe. And now it's worth maybe like 5 or 6 or 7. I'm not sure the exact price right now. So the reason why I held on it for so long is because I see what they're doing. They're trying really hard to give value to everybody that holds the cats. They give them free NFTs. They're gonna launch a token called Milk and Gold in the future, which will have monetary value, and you can passively earn that just from holding a cat. They're trying to build games with their project, and the way I think about it is like Cool Cats is an intellectual property NFT project. If you think about like Hello Kitty, Mickey Mouse, or even like Mario, these are properties. They're like characters that can be used for anything, whether it's gonna be for video games, comic books, collaborations for other brands, clothing, merchandise. It's endless. Like just like how like Pokemon is huge, right? Like what is Pokemon? It's really an IP that can be a game. It could be a trading card game as well, like physical trading cards. It can be a movie. It can be a TV show. It can be an anime. It could be a manga, right? It could be so many different things. And so when I look at Cool Cats, that's what I see. I see a team. At the time of this recording, they got about like 15 people full-time like working on this that's dedicated to building a long-term future, building a long-term IP that can extend beyond just the crypto world, but into things that can become mainstream. When I look at that, it's like, okay, no brainer. Like this is a blue chip project. There are not a lot of projects that will make the effort to build for the long term and not cash grab and really like execute on the vision. And so far they've been doing a great job. And that's why I continue to hold it and consider it a blue chip. So the next project I'm talking about is going to be Bored Ape Yacht Club. And if you've been following Twitter or like NFT news, you definitely have heard of this project before. They're definitely one of the biggest projects in the NFT space. Just to give you an idea of like how mainstream this IP is becoming, like we're looking at like NFT now, 21 celebrities who have one of these NFT projects. We have Jimmy Fallon, Steph Curry also has one of these, Logan Paul, Marshmello, Shaq that also has one. The list goes on and on and on. So you want to see like, okay, like how much do I pay for one of these monkeys? So if you want the cheapest Bored Ape Yacht Club, it's going to be $200,000 for this JPEG. And that is quite significant for a brand that's not even 1 year old. And there's like 10,000 of these. I don't personally have a Bored Ape Yacht Club, and I don't have any of their other sets of like Mutant Ape Yacht Club or like the Bored Kennel Club. Unfortunately, I didn't get in early enough, and it's kind of out of my price range right now. What I like to do is look at these projects and take learning lessons. Why is Bored Ape Yacht Club so valuable? Why is it worth 51 ETH just for like the cheapest one of these? And I think what they've done is they created a very strong IP that's recognizable throughout the entire world, and I can see the future. Like for example, one of the cool things you can do if you are an owner of a Bored Ape is that you actually have the IP rights to your specific ape. Meaning if you want to use your character that you own, you have the own NFT, you can use it in a game, you can use it in a movie, you can use it for your own personal branding and actually make money with that NFT. And a really good example of this is that Universal Music Group, right, obviously one of the largest music companies in the world, created a band called Kingship using these Bored Apes. What does that really mean? Well, basically they have 4 rare apes. They have a mutant one, they have a gold one, and they have these other ones. They put 4 of them together, right? These are not people, these are just NFTs. And so they're saying like, okay, we're gonna get 4 of these NFTs. We own the IP because we own the NFT, and we're gonna create a band out of this because we believe that there's gonna be so much demand for people wanting to listen to this music by these apes. So if you think about it, these apes are cartoon characters. So who's the artist behind it? And that's the genius behind it, because if you think about like the Gorillaz, right? You see a music video by the Gorillaz, you know, every music video, it's like cartoon characters singing and like playing guitar and like whatever. Same thing with this. In this way, you can interchange the artist so that the personality or the character that that ape is, you can replace the actual human being that's behind it, but then that IP will live forever. What you're essentially doing is you're creating a virtual band almost that have real people behind it, but they're interchangeable. And it's like a musical group that can literally live on forever as long as people want to listen to their music. And that's just like mind-blowing because there's no previous example of people doing that in the past. And so that's just like one of the innovations that Bored Ape is doing. Not only that, but if you really think about like what makes a NFT valuable, it's community. So because you have all these celebrities having it, you have all these crypto whales having it and successful people buying into it as well. It's like buying a membership into a country club, right? Like similar for me, like I have a Cool Cat, I have a CyberKong, and it gets you exclusive access into certain groups, certain real life meetups, and you get to meet people you probably wouldn't have otherwise met because you guys own the same NFT and you're part of the same club. And Bored Ape, exact same thing, except maybe they have a different type of person, different tier of people. Maybe they have more celebrities, so that will make it more valuable. Obviously, every community has its pros and cons and people will say different things, but in the end of the day, there is value in community, there is value in networking, and so that really is what makes Bored Ape valuable. If you think about this, if you own the IP to one ape, right, and you decide to start a band with that ape, and as you gain more popular as a creator, well, the whole brand itself also becomes popular. So like when we're looking at Universal Music Group, when they're creating this group, what they're also doing is that as this group becomes more popular, the entire set of the 10,000 apes also becomes popular at the same time. So the more one person becomes successful, the more everybody becomes successful together. This is really interesting because instead of having to do something by yourself, you're kind of working in a community where everyone can become successful together or have a shot at it at least. And that goes for Cool Cats, that goes for CyberKongs as well. So all these communities do have the same ability to do that, but I feel like Bored Apes, they really executed on getting the word out there. And even like if you look at Post Malone, one of his most recent music videos, they were able to like get a Bored Ape in that music video, and that's like millions of eyeballs on Bored Apes, and people don't know what that is, and now they do, right? And so the more demand there is, the more you can bring people outside of crypto into crypto and make them into believers, the more an NFT project can become more valuable. So those are going to be some of my top 3 blue chip projects, and I'll see you guys in the next one.